all three of us had the chance to watch it, not together, unfortunately. One day we're going to make that happen where the three of us watch a fight card together.
Watch party maybe too.
Maybe we can do a watch party. But yeah, we were all in our separate spots watching the fights. Overall, the 302 card was, I think, marred by some weird judging stuff, but then also just a little bit boring. But the Islam Makhachev Dustin Poirier fight, I think, was the headliner for a reason, and it absolutely delivered. So what are your guys' thoughts, man? I know you guys are both Dustin Poirier fans, but what were your guys' thoughts about the fight?
Yeah, really the only other, to me, like pop moment on the card was Kevin Holland winning by the armbar. That was
wild.
That was a pretty awesome moment. But it just, usually like when we have these pay-per-view cards, you kind of sit there through all the fights and are just like one after the other. Wow. And this one just didn't really have that. It wasn't a very deep card to begin with. Like my expectations for this card weren't overly high. Like Sean Strickland and Paulo Costa, on paper it sounds exciting, but when you dig into it, it's not. Paulo Costa has won one fight since 2019, and that was against Luke Rockhold, who had been out for like 3 years and was so gassed that
still almost got beat by Luke Rockhold,
and he still almost won. And Sean Strickland is one of those like sometimes he's really fun to watch, and sometimes he just kind of gets in that turtle shell and he's not as fun. He was active, but he's just not super exciting because he's not a knockout artist. He's kind of he's like the Colby Covington of 185. Like that's who he is.
It's interesting.
And I don't even
I actually found Colby more pleasing to watch than Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland to me had a rope-a-dope like shell game is just like not enjoyable to watch.
And he doesn't launch even when he feels like he'll give you a couple of combinations if he feels like you're wobbled, but he'll stop if he doesn't knock you down.
Right, but you know what I mean. Like both of them are not power punchers. They're more than likely not going to knock anybody out. Their cardio is absurd. Like they're never going to get tired. Very similar. So that fight was terrible, and then you had the main event, which really saved the whole card. Islam Makhachev, Dustin Poirier,
and Islam said it after the fight. He was like, "I saved this card."
yeah. I mean, it was a lot of fun. It was. Yeah. There's nothing like a UFC pay-per-view main event. Like in sports, there's just nothing quite like it. Like yes, the Super Bowl is awesome. Yes, the all big sporting events are awesome, but nothing beats like the main event of a pay-per-view card. Like I agree. You said you disagree or you agree?
I agree. Like and also like Bruce Buffer belting it out too.
Right.
Oh, come on.
I mean,
it's unbelievable.
How many thousands of times have we heard him do that?
And
it
doesn't get a hold.
I'm like, oh my god.
Hey, can I real quick though? I have 3 takeaways from this card. I have 3 quick takeaways. Then we'll revisit this. One, Alex Morono is cooked. He needs to get cut probably. Yeah, like it's over for him. Nico Price got knocked out in the first round by Robbie Lawler, and Alex Morono just ran out of gas after the first round and just couldn't do anything. The judge. Whoever the judge was who gave Paulo Costa the fight 49-46 needs to be working at a Walmart today. That is the most embarrassing scorecard I have ever seen in my entire life. That honestly, watching that fight, maybe 4-1 or maybe 4-1 Sean.
Yeah.
Most likely 5-0. Sort of the way I had it.
I'd say 5-0.
But I can't really think of anything he did. Yeah.
I don't know how you come close, because this judge would have had to have it 4-1 Costa. How? Like, how is that even possible? Dave outstruck him in every round.
Yeah, he literally did not land more strikes in any of the rounds. There were no takedowns. Dave Torelli is the judge's name, and that like we've seen some really bad judging mishaps.
Like that's he fixed that. He tried to fix it.
To me that's the worst judging I've ever seen. Like when I heard that, I thought they read.
I
the
heard
card
split
wrong.
decision. I was like, what? How's it even close to a split?
I thought they read the card wrong. Like when they said 49, when Bruce Buffer said 49-46 Costa, I was like, he said the wrong name.
But here's the thing about Dana. Dana will he'll fire that. He'll fire him. I hope he does. Because
That's not his choice.
Dana has zero power in that.
Really? He has none?
It's all about the state athletic commissions. The UFC has.
That-
If it was Dana White, like if it was the UFC, yes, he would be.
That
gone,
guy
but-
shouldn't be employed.
Yeah, and I think that's stupid anyway. I don't think the state should have control of the judging. I think the UFC should be able to sanction their own judges. Like they're a big enough entity where they should sanction their own judges.
I disagree.
But I understand.
Yeah, because you could have some. Yeah, Dana slides you a nice $100,000 bonus to make sure.
I understand.
So
I understand the reasoning behind it, but at the same time, some of these state athletic commission judges are so bad.
But
like Texas. If you watch a card in Texas, be prepared for terrible judging. It's gonna happen.
But that's like the worst I've ever seen.
Me too.
Like in any combat sport.
I agree.
There's no way you could see that that fight that way.
He moved backward for 100% of it.
I know, like even visibly he got his ass kicked. Not just by the cards.
No.
Visibly, it's like he has not moved forward once. He hasn't fought off his front foot the entire fight.
No.
I couldn't believe it. And then my final takeaway is Dustin did everything he could, brother.
Everything.
Islam is like that. He's Khabib.
No.
No, he's better than Khabib.
He's better than Khabib.
He's better than Khabib.
I think he's pretty substantially better than Khabib.
He's got them hands, boy.
He can box. Khabib could not box. Like Khabib could not have stood with Dustin Poirier they stood for a good bit of that fight. Yeah. Khabib would have been slept if he was on his feet for that long. And Islam hits hard. He's a good boxer. He's clean. And he's just as good of a wrestler and submission artist as Khabib is.
You saw what he did to Volk. Saw what he did to Volk.
And
he head kicked that mug. Knocked him out.
Even more than that, like even more than he's better in this area, he's better in that area. Look at who they beat. It's not even comparable.
Yeah, that's true.
Khabib didn't beat hardly anybody worth a darn. Like he really didn't. And Islam has beat Charles Oliveira,
right?
Alexander Volkanovski twice, Dustin Poirier. Like
that's true.
To me it's not even close. And I get it. Khabib was like the guy. So many people know him because of the Conor fight. Conor's been overrated forever. Conor was never really that good.
Stop it.
At that point, he was not that good. You know he wasn't.
Stop,
bro.
Give me Christian. I'm with you.
He's overrated. He
always was.
It was a perfect.
He's the most sellable UFC fighter of all time. Let it be that. That's fine. He's a Hall of Famer. He's a champion, double champ.
Was he incredible early in his career? Yes. By that point in his career, no, he was not incredible.
He was still champion.
No, he was not.
He was champion when they fought.
2018, no, he was not. 2018, he had been off for 2 years before that. October 2018 fight against Khabib, he hadn't fought in 2 years.
Okay, all right. I thought he was champion. My bad.
The only person that he has beat since 2018 is Cowboy Cerrone. Come on,
dude. That also. And by the way, can we admit that Dana is a war criminal for putting Cowboy out there for that damn fight? Oh my god, that's nasty work. Disgusting work.
Yeah, but Dustin did what he could, man. I'm a big Dustin Poirier fan, and it like I loved it because you could just tell there were moments where he was like that kind of Lafayette Street kind of came out in him where it was like by any means necessary. If I have to like frog turtle my ass out of this ankle pick, I'm out of here. Right? Like this man put his knees up into his chest and just went boom. Like
honestly,
it was awesome.
His takedown defense was
great.
Really good.
He stuffed everyone in the fourth round, didn't he?
Yeah, dude.
In the second round, he was other than the one at the last 10 seconds. But I mean, there's not anybody else that's stuffing takedowns against these Dagestani wrestlers. They don't, and he stuffed a lot of takedowns. Other than the first round, the 3.5 minutes or whatever control time in the first round,
it's just so hard to control the fight. If you're gonna beat Islam, you have to try to control the fight, and I don't know if there's anybody in the UFC or anybody close to his weight that can do that.
Well, the thing about them is there is zero, and I mean zero, margin for error. You cannot mess up. If you mess up, you're done. Like you have to fight literally a flawless.
But even when he's leaning on you and just messing with your legs, he's taking energy out of you. He's controlling the fight, and I don't know. It's just like you're worried about your legs the entire time. They're not worried in the slightest. They can just fight their fight. You have to you cannot dictate the fight. There's no way you can.
I don't see a path to beating him unless someone just lands one lucky clean shot and knocks him out.
But then you'd have an immediate run back of that.
And then he would win.
Probably so.
Because you know he ain't getting slept twice.
Volkanovski was the closest anyone was going to get, and then Dustin was second. I mean, Dustin pushed him in that fight. It's hard for me to see. Arman Sarukian's the only one left in the division. It's hard for me to see Arman beating him anywhere once again, unless he gets a.
That'd be fun. I think that would be a decent fight, though. I
think it'll be fine, but I mean, Arman Sarukian got controlled on the ground by Charles Oliveira, and Islam smashed Charles Oliveira. So I don't see a path to any 55er beating him. Maybe if he goes up to 70, someone can give him a run for his money just by being bigger, but it's hard. It's hard for me to see him losing any fights.
All right, in the post-fight press conference, they were asking about Islam to Dana White. Dana White was up there at the podium, and he said that someone asked about him being the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. Dana said, if you have any conversation about pound for pound while John Jones is still active and you don't have John Jones as number one, you don't deserve to be making rankings and doing all that kind of stuff. Do you guys agree with that? Is John Jones' inactivity counted against him in that regard?
I 100% agree. I don't care if Islam's active. I mean, John Jones has beat a murderer's row of some of the greatest guys of all time. And I know it's not recent. But guess what? He still hasn't lost. He took 3 years off, went up a weight class, and beat the best guy in the division.
He beat the hell out of the guys that he's fighting now, whose their dads watched. Dads watched the guys that he beat the hell out of back in the day.
He's pound for pound king.
Never lost. I mean, good God, man! As long as he's still in, I agree with him. I do think activity means something, but I think John Jones is too stamped for me to give a damn about his activity.
Agreed.